I'm a big fan of Batman, and we're going to spend some time over the course of multiple videos diving into some of the things that make Batman Batman that relate to us in our field of martial arts and fitness. This video is going to serve as an introduction. Now, the reason I'm doing this, and I have talked about Batman briefly here and there before, is this year is the 85th anniversary of Batman, and that's a pretty big milestone, right? Um, it's it's pretty important that if somebody has influenced you, that you give them some credit. And in this case, it happens to be a fictional character. In this introduction video, I'm going to kind of go over some of the things that I have planned, and there are probably going to be some things that kind of randomly pop up here and there. I do not have a definitive number of videos for this series or anything like that. And like I said, they will be populated intermittently. Hopefully, I'll kind of have the whole thing done before the end of the year so that we're not extending the 85th year into next year. And I'm not going to do this massively super huge deep dive kind of thing, right? Look, as much of a fan of Batman as I am, in the comics world, I'm still kind of a casual. I just don't have the money to put into being the ultimate collector. I don't retain all of the knowledge, so I have to research stuff again and again and again because I forget things. But overall, I find that Batman has been a kind of a constant throughout my life here and there, right? I grew up watching the animated series, the old Adam West TV show, of course, the 89 movie, and those four movies, the two Tim Burton ones and the two Schumacher ones, which are the worst of the whole lot. Michael Keaton is the worst Batman. And I would gladly lock up Tim Burton in Guantanamo for his crimes against film. He is possibly my least favorite person in the entire world. But we're going to go through and kind of dig into some of the things that make Batman from a martial arts and fitness perspective. So let's kind of go over some of the first stuff here, right? So I'm calling this Building a Better Batman because obviously there's a lot of fiction stuff here. And honestly, this is probably going to be part of my Truth in Fiction series as well, which you may not know, but I've already been doing along the line. So part of the stuff that makes Batman Batman, right, are some of the things that are not related to his peak physical capacities and tactical capacities. One of those is his wealth. Oh, look, as a certified poor boy, look, yes, on the world stage, I'm not poor. I am a lower middle class American, right? The point is that I can't afford very much luxury and whatnot in my life compared to other Americans, right? I am individually below the median income level. His wealth is, they give different numbers and everything, but his wealth is up there with Bezos and Musk and beyond. I mean, there's at least one quote that has him as a trillionaire. That's debatable, but we're easily talking in the billions at this point in time. The other thing is he has access, and this goes along with as well, but he has access to a load of technology. And most of us do not have access to the kind of technology, and some of the technology he has access to doesn't actually exist in the real world. So there's that as well. Now, his intelligence and knowledge is incredibly vast. I mean, we're literally talking multiple PhD level intelligence. He's got all sorts of learning tricks and everything to assimilate information extraordinarily fast and become essentially an expert, at least a post-grad expert on just about everything. Most of us are not going to be capable of that. I'm not really going to go into like how to become book smart and everything because I'm not book smart and everything. So we're not going to be really covering that. But look, your intelligence and your knowledge base is really, really, really important. So if you want to be like Batman, other than getting wealthy and getting your hands on all of the best tech that you can get, developing your knowledge is going to be incredibly important, right? Read, listen, watch, consume as much information as you can about things and try to cross-link it with pre-existing information that you've already learned that'll help you kind of cross-bridge all those things, which establishing new information on top of old information in ways that cross-link is just a fantastic way of being able to increase your recall on how things work. It's awesome. And to go along with that, psychology and philosophy, because if you understand psychology, how the human mind works, and even how animal minds work and whatnot, to, at least at a functional enough level, being able to read and communicate with people. And I really should have put that in with psychology and philosophy's communication. If you can read and communicate with that, you are going to have a much smoother time in reality, being able to basically diplomatically walk through things up to the point that you no longer can, right? It's the old Roadhouse thing, right? Be nice until it's time to not be nice. It's the same thing here, right? Look, Batman is an incredibly hopeful superhero. So incredibly hopeful superhero. Look, he we can debate timelines and everything, but since like the 1960s or 50s even, Batman doesn't kill, really, since the Comics Code Authority. Batman doesn't kill, and that's become part of his character. He doesn't use firearms, not because he can't, and not because he whatever, right? It's because, well, like he said over and over again, it would be too easy. And same thing with killing. It would be too easy. Once he starts, it would be difficult to stop, right? He doesn't want to become what in Marvel the Punisher has become. He does not want to be that person. He is an incredibly hopeful character because he believes that he can establish change with basically swift justice and punishment that will hopefully right the wrongs, produce, take bad actors off the street, potentially rehabilitate people, scare people away from dark paths. Now, clearly, over 85 years, that hasn't worked, but it is a hope that he has. So despite him being the Dark Knight, what do we see with so many people, right? Oftentimes, the most aggressive people are actually the most scared people. It's not they're brave, it's that they're scared, right? Well, in this case, this guy who is like secretive and dark and brooding is actually incredibly hopeful. It's kind of like Hayao Miyazaki, right? Hayao Miyazaki himself, it's the inverse, right? He's a downer, he's morose, and yet the Studio Ghibli stuff is so beautiful and vibrant and full of life. So Batman is kind of like that, right? So again, just with the intelligent knowledge stuff, read up on psychology. Start practicing watching and listening to people and paying attention to cues. And philosophy. Keep in mind that if you go back to ancient Greek philosophy, part of philosophy is learning logic, which leads into mathematics, which leads into intelligence and knowledge, right? It's ethics and morality, and that is absolutely huge. And it's understanding, the Stoics actually believed in physics as part of their philosophy, which is how the world works mechanically. That's science. So philosophy leads right into this stuff. Psychology leads into all this stuff. You want to get a good grasp on all of that stuff. And then, of course, you have your detective and investigation skills, right? Because Batman is the world's greatest detective. So you have to have all of that stuff. That is a very specific skill set dealing with crime. This is where I have to say, being a vigilante is illegal. I cannot and will not recommend that you go and become a vigilante. I cannot and will not recommend that you take the law in your own hands. What you do, the decisions you make, is on you, and the consequences of those decisions is on you. That's as much as I'm going to say about it. I'm just telling you, I am not advocating for you to partake in any action that is in any way criminal, because I am not going to take that liability on myself. This is more about using a fictional character to help you become a better version of yourself, a better person, a stronger, more knowledgeable, more wise person. What we will be covering is going to be strength and conditioning aspects. There's the very famous, workout selection from the Batman Files, which I have. The martial arts, which, he's supposedly trained 127 martial arts. It's not actually how that works. And we'll get into that at another point. And there's nutrition and recovery, because we honestly have to do that. Now, look, there's a lot of guys in the fitness space that have already kind of covered the strength and conditioning and nutrition stuff. And some of it I agree with, some of it I don't. So I'm going to put my own spin on what I think is there and some of the up-to-date research. But that's the stuff that we're going to be covering. Now, look, if you want me to go into some of this stuff, I'm probably not going to go too deep into it, but make your requests. Maybe I'll be able to get to it. If I feel it's too far outside of my wheelhouse, I'm just not going to speak on something that I'm not knowledgeable on, and I'm not going to do a bunch of research at a surface level just to make a video. There may be a few random bits and stuff here and there because, random stuff is fun at the same time. So I don't know how many videos are going to be in this. Just on strength and conditioning alone, we could break that down into 6 or 7 videos. Martial arts, we could probably separate down into a whole bunch, or we could keep it really simple. Nutrition and recovery, we could probably do in 1 or 2 videos. But I mean, this could be upwards of a 10 video series. It could be a 5 video series. It depends on how deep I want to go and how well people are responding to it and all of that. But I think we can build a better Batman, not just for the sake of the narrative, because I have no influence on the comic book industry, and we should be out there creating our own properties and our own characters anyway. We should be taking that inspiration, running with it for ourselves and our futures, rather than trying to do something that somebody's already done. But because Batman is so often considered the pinnacle of human achievement, he's considered like peak human, whereas Superman is peak metahuman, thus making them the world's finest. We should be taking that as an object lesson to develop ourselves, right? Not every one of us who gets into fitness and martial arts get into it because we have some story about being picked on or abused or assaulted or anything like that. Some of us just grew up with superheroes and action movies, and we wanted to be like those paragons on the screen. And that's okay. Your motivations for training can be whatever you want them to be, whatever you need them to be. All I'm asking you is to be kind of a decent, moral, upright, standing, helpful, useful person, right? So we're going to go ahead and cut the introduction off here. And over time, don't be expecting one just right on the heels of this, but over time, we'll be digging into some of this stuff. And I won't make you wait months between, hopefully, right? But we'll see how it goes. Also, by the way, like, this is the school shirt that's a Batman inspired shirt. I'm certain some of you are not going to want to wear a shirt that has our logo emblazoned off the back, because it might feel, tacky or fraudulent to wear a school shirt that you're not part of. But I took the inspiration of the gray suit with the yellow emblem from the animated series and some of the comics, of course. I took inspiration from that for this shirt. Obviously, it doesn't look like a Batman symbol, but that's where the inspiration for the shirt comes from. And you can absolutely snag one on Amazon if you would like. Again, as I say all the time when I promote the shirts, buying a shirt does not make you a membership, does not give you membership in the school or anything like that. It's really just there because these shirts aren't even uniforms for my own students in-house. They're just things. It's advertising for my school is what it is. So by all means, feel free to grab a shirt and support Blocks Unboxing the Batman way. And I will talk to you guys later. See you in the next one. Good journey. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, share. Check us out on our other socials, and please head over to blacksunboxing.com to get a little more info, including how to contact us. Furthermore, if you are in the Phoenix area, please feel free to stop in, say hi, join in for a class, whatever. Also, if you ever see us cite sources or just for additional content, please check out our Substack. That is where we put all of the sources we use in our videos and is a major part of this. Plus, it serves as a membership platform for long distance learning and for people who would like to support us but aren't local. We would greatly appreciate it if you signed up. Even just the free membership helps us out a lot. All right, I will see you guys in the next video. Good journey.